When someone hurts you, your first thought is often revenge, anger, or silence. But what if I told you that the most powerful way to deal with pain is not to fight back, but to rise above with wisdom so high that it confuses the one who hurt you? Because when you respond with strength guided by God, not ego, you don't just protect your heart, you transform the entire situation. Brothers and sisters, we all face moments when people hurt us, betray us, or treat us unfairly. It shakes our emotions, it clouds our mind, and it questions our worth. But remember, pain is not a punishment. Pain is often God's way of polishing our soul. When you handle hurt with divine strength, not only do you heal yourself, but you leave the one who hurt you in complete confusion. Because they expect anger, they expect hatred, they expect you to fall, but instead you rise. Today, let me share with you 7 powerful ways to respond when someone hurts you, ways that will make you unshakable, peaceful, and radiant with inner power. Imagine this: someone throws an insult at you, maybe a harsh word, maybe a betrayal, maybe an action that shakes your heart. The natural human reaction is to explode, to shout back, to prove that you are not weak. But what truly happens when we react with anger? We hand over our peace to the very person who disturbed us. We give them control of our emotions, and we allow their negativity to enter our soul. Now think about this carefully. If you remain calm when someone hurts you, you instantly confuse them. They expect fire, but you give them water. They expect a storm, but you stand like a mountain. Calmness is not silence of weakness, it is silence of strength. It is the power that tells the world, I refuse to be shaken by your storms, because my peace is my treasure. Let us take a simple example from daily life. You're at work, and a colleague unfairly blames you for a mistake. You know deep inside it wasn't your fault. Instantly, anger rises in your chest, and your mind prepares 1,000 words to fight back. But then, instead of exploding, you pause. You take a deep breath, and you let calmness guide your reply. Instead of shouting, you respond with measured words. I understand your concern, but here's the truth. In that moment, 2 things happen. First, the colleague who expected drama is suddenly disarmed. They don't know how to fight against peace. Second, everyone around you witnesses your dignity, and respect for you grows. This is the magic of responding with calm instead of chaos. Calmness is not about being passive. It is about being powerful in a way others cannot predict. Imagine a lake. When the water is disturbed, you can't see your reflection. But when the water is calm, the reflection is clear. Our mind works the same way. When anger and chaos ripple inside us, we lose clarity. But when we calm down, we can see the truth clearly and we make wiser decisions. That is why calmness is a divine quality. It protects us from harming ourselves in the heat of the moment. Sometimes, people believe that calmness is weakness. But think of it deeply. Anyone can shout, anyone can slam doors, anyone can throw words like weapons. That takes no strength. But to remain calm when insulted, to hold back words when your heart is burning, that requires mastery of the self. That is true courage. It is easy to fight with others, but it is difficult to win over your own impulses. And when you win over yourself, you win the real battle. Another daily example, imagine a family argument. Maybe your spouse, your parent, or your child says something hurtful in anger. If you also respond with anger, the fire doubles. The house becomes a battlefield. But if you respond with calmness, the fire has no fuel. Silence, a gentle word, or simply walking away for a moment, these are not signs of defeat, but of wisdom. Later, when emotions cool down, the same person often feels regret. They wonder, How could he or she stay so calm while I lost control? And that question itself brings respect. You did not just protect your own peace, you taught them a lesson without a single lecture. Calmness also connects us to God. Think about it. When we are angry, our mind is filled with noise. We cannot hear the soft whispers of divine guidance. But when we are calm, our heart becomes like an empty cup, ready to be filled with God's wisdom. Many times, the right response to a hurtful situation comes not from logic, but from a quiet inner voice. That inner voice can only be heard in calmness. Let us also consider how calmness confuses the one who tries to hurt you. If someone insults you and you insult them back, the game continues. They feel satisfied that they dragged you into their storm. But if they insult you and you stay calm, you rob them of their victory. They don't know what to do next because their weapon failed. It is like trying to fight with someone who refuses to fight back. You stand undefeated without lifting a finger. That confusion they feel is your strength. In daily life, we face so many situations where people test us. Traffic on the road, rude words from strangers, jealousy from colleagues, misunderstandings at home. Each of these moments is a test of who controls our mind, the world, or us. Calmness is like a shield. It protects your peace in every situation. You cannot control how others act, but you can control how you respond, and that is where true freedom lies. So next time someone hurts you, remember you are not obligated to react in the way they expect. Choose calmness. Choose silence when silence is stronger than words. Choose a gentle response when anger is trying to control you. Choose to protect your peace as if it were a diamond. Because peace is rare, and once you lose it, nothing outside can give it back. Only God can restore it, and He restores it in those who value calmness. The world may mistake your calmness for weakness, but let them think what they want. Deep down, you know that remaining calm is not about surrendering. It is about rising higher. It is about walking a path of strength that others cannot understand. And that is the kind of power that lasts longer than anger, longer than revenge, longer than pain. Calmness is not just a reaction, it is a choice, a shield, and a message to the world. I am guided by God, not by your chaos. Pain is one of life's most powerful teachers. At first, it feels heavy, unbearable, even unfair, but hidden beneath its sharp edges lies a gift of transformation. When someone hurts you, you have two choices. You can either let that pain break you, or you can allow it to shape you into someone wiser, stronger, and more radiant than before. Turning pain into power is not about denying that you feel hurt. It is about taking that hurt and molding it into a source of growth. Imagine a piece of coal placed under pressure. It doesn't remain coal forever. Under that intensity, it becomes a diamond. In the same way, pain can polish your soul if you choose to embrace its lessons rather than drown in its weight. Think of a time when someone's words cut you deeply. Perhaps they doubted your abilities, insulted your worth, or betrayed your trust. In that moment, your heart burned with sadness or anger. Most people stay stuck there. They replay the hurt in their mind. They allow it to define their future, and they live in bitterness. But the wiser path is to pause and ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Often, pain reveals our hidden strength. That insult might push you to improve yourself, to prove to yourself, not them, that you are capable. That betrayal might teach you the importance of self, respect, and setting boundaries. That rejection might open the door to something far greater that you never imagined. Pain, when viewed through the lens of growth, becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. A simple daily example can show this clearly. Imagine a student who fails an important exam. The pain of failure is heavy, tears, shame, disappointment all come rushing in. Some would give up, believing they are not smart enough. But another student, though equally hurt, decides to transform that pain into power. He studies harder, changes his habits, and learns discipline. Months later, he not only passes but excels. That same failure, which once felt like destruction, became the foundation for success. Without the pain, he would never have unlocked that potential. Life works the same way in every area. Pain is often the reason people discover their true purpose. Think of people who suffered illness but then used their experience to inspire others toward health. Think of those who faced financial struggles and then built resilience that allowed them to rise higher than before. Think of a broken relationship that forced someone to rediscover self, love, and become a source of strength for others. The story is always the same. Pain hurts, but when handled with wisdom, it awakens hidden power. Let us reflect on this. Why does pain have such power? Because pain has a way of slowing us down and forcing us to listen. In moments of comfort, we rarely change. We continue our routines, our habits, our familiar ways. But when pain strikes, it shakes us awake. It makes us question, it makes us grow, it makes us seek answers. That seeking itself is divine. It leads us closer to God, closer to truth, closer to our higher self. Many people say, "My deepest pain was my greatest teacher." And if you think about your own life, you will realize this is true. Imagine someone who was humiliated at their workplace by a boss who underestimated them. In the moment, it feels like humiliation. But instead of staying in that wound, they use it as fire to improve their skills, to build confidence, and maybe even to start their own venture. One day they stand tall, not only respected but admired. That very pain became the reason for their transformation. Without that hurt, they might have remained average. But with it, they discovered extraordinary strength. Another example, consider a young person in a relationship who gets betrayed by someone they trusted. The pain is sharp, and the heart feels broken into pieces. For weeks or months, the world feels empty. But slowly, that pain teaches them self-worth. They realize their happiness cannot depend on another person's loyalty. They learn to love themselves, to nurture their own growth, and to find joy within. Later, when they look back, they see that the betrayal was not the end. It was the beginning of becoming someone stronger, someone who values themselves. That transformation was born from pain. Turning pain into power also confuses the one who hurt you. They expect you to stay broken, bitter, and small. But when you rise above, when you shine brighter because of their actions, they cannot understand it. They thought they defeated you, but in reality, they unknowingly contributed to your growth. That is the most powerful response. Not revenge, not hatred, but success born out of struggle. It is important to remember that turning pain into power is not immediate. It takes patience. Just like seeds take time to grow, your transformation will take time too. You might feel lost, you might cry, you might question why, but every tear you shed is watering the ground for something greater to grow. The key is to not let pain imprison you. Instead, let it push you forward step by step, day by day, until one day you realize the pain that once felt unbearable has become your greatest strength. And in this process, never forget God's role. Pain often makes us turn to God with sincerity like nothing else does. In comfort, we may forget prayer, but in pain, our hearts bow down, our eyes look upward, and we pour out our soul. In those moments, we receive guidance, patience, and inner strength beyond human limits. That strength is what turns wounds into wisdom. So, whenever you feel hurt, betrayed, or defeated, remember, this pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to build you. It is not your enemy. It is your hidden friend in disguise. And when you learn to embrace it, to listen to it, and to grow from it, you will walk out of the fire not burned, but shining. That is the beauty of turning pain into power. You rise higher than anyone ever expected, and you inspire countless others who are still struggling in their own pain. The ego is a subtle voice that whispers inside us, telling us we must always win, always prove ourselves, always show the world that we are right and others are wrong. It is the force that demands recognition, that craves revenge, that burns with pride when praised and trembles with rage when criticized. Yet when we live only for the ego, we are never at peace. Every insult feels like a war, every loss feels like the end of life, every hurt becomes unbearable. But when we detach from ego and attach to God, everything changes. We no longer see life as a battlefield of me versus them. We begin to see life as a journey where God's wisdom leads us, not the fragile desires of our ego. Imagine this: you are walking down the street and someone shouts something rude at you. The ego immediately rises. How dare they? I must respond. I must prove I am stronger. But in that moment, if you pause, if you breathe, and you remember that your worth is not defined by another person's words, but by God's vision of you, the insult loses its power. You detach from ego and attach to God's truth, that you are a soul beyond temporary opinions, beyond shallow judgments. The one who insulted you expected your anger, but instead you walk on, calm, untouched, radiant. That is not weakness. That is power, the power of being led by God instead of ego. Daily life is full of such tests. At work, perhaps someone takes credit for your efforts. The ego wants you to fight, to argue, to make sure everyone knows the truth. But when you are attached to God, you know that no human recognition can ever equal divine recognition. God sees your sincerity, your effort, your patience. And in the long run, that truth always reveals itself. Instead of being consumed by ego's fire, you remain steady, letting your peace be your loudest answer. Think of relationships. How often do small arguments turn into huge fights simply because of ego? A husband and wife, a parent and child, two friends, they argue not because of the issue itself, but because each ego is screaming, I must be right. If one of them could detach from ego and say, peace matters more than proving my point, the fight would dissolve. Attaching to God means remembering love, compassion, and harmony are higher truths than temporary victories. In daily life, this single shift can save countless relationships from being torn apart. The ego is like a flame. It can burn everything around it if left uncontrolled. But attaching to God is like immersing yourself in a cool river. It washes away the fire of pride and fills you with clarity. You begin to ask not, how can I win this argument? But rather, what does God want me to learn here? What response would reflect peace and wisdom? This mindset not only protects your own heart, but also sets an example for others. Think about this example: a colleague mocks you publicly. The ego screams, answer back, show everyone their weakness. But if you attach to God's wisdom, you might respond with kindness or even with silence. The colleague, expecting a fight, is left puzzled. Others watching begin to admire your composure. And in time, the truth surfaces without you having to lower yourself. Here you did not fight with ego. You won with grace. Attaching to God also means trusting divine justice. The ego wants instant revenge. They hurt me, so I must hurt them now. But God's timing is different. Life has a way of balancing itself. When you let go of ego's demand for control, you place your trust in a higher law that no action goes